They say when one door closes, another opens. That basically every ending is just a new beginning in disguise. But what they don't say is how to know when the ending has actually arrived. Because here's the thing about places. They don't break up with you. They don't send closure texts. They don't sit you down and say, hey, this is not working anymore. No, you have to figure that all out on your own. And sometimes it's not obvious. Sometimes it's not a dramatic betrayal or a final straw. Sometimes it's just a quiet, persistent feeling. A growing itch, you could say. A sense that you're shrinking in a place that once made you feel expansive. A place that you swore that it made you feel alive before. The thing is that I've always believed in loyalty. To people, to routines, to cities that helped me grow. But what happens when that loyalty starts to feel less like love and more like obligation? When I was younger, I thought that leaving a place always needed a reason. A justifiable one, university, a career, a new job offer, something that you could point to and say, this is why I'm moving. But the older I get, the more I realize that sometimes the only reason that you need is that you are done. Not in a dramatic, burn it all down kind of way, but in a quiet, knowing kind of way. You're just ready for more. Even if everything is technically fine, even if you can't quite explain it to anyone else, even if part of you still feels guilty for wanting to go. I remember the moment I realized this. I was sitting in my favorite cafe. The sun was out, my favorite matcha was on my one hand, and my favorite book in the other. And I still felt restless. Something that used to bring me so much joy and comfort and belonging. Now it just made me feel restless. So that was the moment I knew. When even your best days don't feel quite like you anymore, it might be time to go. And it's not always sadness that follows. Sometimes it's guilt. You ask yourself, how can I leave a place that gave me so much and it still gives me so much comfort and safety? Am I being ungrateful? Am I being dramatic and delusional? But then I realized you can be deeply grateful for a chapter and still know that it's time to turn the page. The truth is, you don't owe a place forever just because it gave you something once. You are allowed to grow out of spaces that once fit you perfectly. You're allowed to seek more, not because what you had wasn't good, but because you have changed. I couldn't help but wonder, how do you actually know when it's time to leave? Is it when you stop buying things for the apartment because deep down you know you won't be staying? Is it when you start counting how many weeks you got left instead of making plans for the ones that are ahead? Or is it when the idea of staying feels heavier than the thought of starting over? I think we all know. Deep down, there's a version of us that whispers when it's time to go. We just don't always listen to it the first time. Sometimes we wait. We wait for signs, for permission, for things to get unbearable enough that the decision makes itself. But what if we didn't wait? What if we learned to recognize the signs earlier? What if we trusted that feeling and that quiet nudge that says you've gotten what you came here for and now it's time to go and find your next thing? I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to justify your leaving. Not to your family, not to your past self, not even to the city. You just have to be honest enough to admit that this place has served its purpose, and now so must you. Because living isn't always about escape. Sometimes it's about evolution. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from a good life in pursuit of a better one. And maybe that's how we know it's time. When staying starts to feel like resisting. And living starts to feel like a return to yourself. Listen, you don't always need a reason to live. Sometimes the only reason that you need is that you're ready for what's next. And maybe, just maybe, it's waiting for you somewhere you've never been.